Start streaming. And we're live.
Oh yeah.
Hello. You're
Hello.
watching Tech Radar. My name is Basil.
I'm Andrew.
We're not in Las Vegas.
We're not in Las Vegas. Also, the reason that we're doing a little bit of overlapping is because usually Basil hosts when I'm not here and I host, and so it's weird. It's like having two hosts
Yeah.
on the sofa at the same time.
So this might all break out into a fight, but before it does, we should hopefully get some CES talking underway.
Yes.
CES, Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. It's exciting. We've got a huge amount of the team out there, but we're here holding fort and talking about our favorite things, and we want to hear about your favorite things too.
Yep.
So we're going to kick off with the wall.
The wall.
What is the wall?
It's a wall.
It's not.
It's not a wall.
not a wall.
It's a screen. And so it's yeah. So it is a frankly gigantic display. And you can see it in the picture behind us. But it is modular.
Modular. So it's over 140 inches.
Yep.
And it gets very, very,
Perfect for your living room.
very bright, and it's modular, and it also introduces some new technology, and this is what is so exciting about it. It introduces micro LED.
Micro LED. And so yeah, it's the when OLED first came out, everyone was like, wait, so each LED individually lights up, and so that means you can have proper dynamic range like you get in real life? Because obviously when you have a TV that's displaying light out of every single pixel and it's trying to display black but is emitting light, black is the absence of light, and so it doesn't work. And so obviously you can only have true dynamic range when you have each individual pixel doing its own light source. So that was so exciting about OLED. And now micro LED is a sort of updated new...
It's new because
OLED
you
replacement.
don't need a back panel which emits light, which prevents OLED from being truly non-light emitting in the blacks. But what's also incredible about it is because it doesn't use organic elements, Samsung says you will never ever suffer from burn-in when using this.
I didn't know that.
We're learning off each other.
very exciting.
So this is actually another really, really exciting thing. So incredible contrast ratio, brightness levels. You can get incredibly deep blacks. That goes back to the contrast ratio, but it is the lack of the freedom from the burn-in fear. I've got a plasma TV, and that thing needs to go. Burn-in so bad, but this is exciting. So chances you can actually see, we've written an article about it on Tech Radar, and Nick, who wrote it, commented that it's probably going to be B2B uses for the next year or so, because the price is astronomical. The size, it hasn't been displayed or exhibited in anything smaller than this 140 plus inch variant, but when it gets down to 60 inches thereabouts, still huge, but actually fittable in a living room, then we should be seeing it hit the mainstream in the next few years.
Yeah, or if you want to clad the outside of your house entirely in a screen and you've got the money to burn, then...
Yeah, because it isn't IP67 water and dust resistant, so you would literally potentially be burning that money. Yeah. And on to more TVs. So we're still on the subject of LEDs. This time it is an OLED. It's probably a POLED, plastic OLED. So LG has its first rollable display, and when I pulled this up on screen earlier, Andrew was like, yes, but what's the point? And I get it, I do. What is the point? Space saving? And I think more than anything, it's just freaking cool.
And so this is technology that has been around in a different form, one form or another, for years now, hasn't it? Exactly. Like, oh, it's 2014. Look, we can make a screen that folds, and it's years later now.
Then it's ended up on all our smartphones, because this is fundamentally the same kind of thing, a curved screen on a OLED.
Yeah, and obviously that we have had TVs that disappear down into a box and appear again, but in order to get that to work, you have to dig a hole underneath the TV so that it can disappear down into your ottoman. It's lovely. Whereas this does actually just roll up into the little stand, doesn't it?
Yeah. So the analogy that I used earlier was projector without the projector.
Yeah.
And it doesn't just roll. I'd want it to be machine, and I'm guessing that's what it does, and that's really cool.
Yeah.
And so it does feel like something from the future.
I mean, hopefully not. Hopefully.
Yes, hopefully. Completely silent, wonderful, like a crystal goblet. You don't notice the motion or anything, but I don't think the picture quality will be quite as good. And I'm actually, interestingly, because like you said, we've seen it before, I'm not as excited about this as I am about the micro LED.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't fundamentally introduce a new technology, potentially.
Yep.
But from a practical point of view, this is more practically purposeful.
Using your words.
Thanks. Yeah. So that's where we're at with these.
Yeah.
I think we're good with TVs for the most part. Next, we're going to move on to stuff that goes in a TV.
Yeah, just to say, there are loads more TVs that have been shown. And so if you're here going, but I want more TV stuff, check out the main CES hub and on Tech Radar, and you will find all the TV stuff you need.
So much. If John Porter was here, this entire show would be about TVs, because CES generally isn't the smartphone show, it isn't the tablet show, it is the TV show. So we will jump onto the more stuff in a sec, and these are all concepts, by the way, thus far. We will get on stuff that you will be able to have in your home, but first, a shout out to Xperia Tech, shout out Mudasa, wrong channel, who then follows up with, how do I download Dragon Ball Xenoverse on Android? Yep, wrong channel. Roy, which is better, OnePlus 5T? No, dude, it's not always got to be about phones.
For some people, it's always about phones.
For some people, it's always about phones. But out of those, just I'd say they're not 8 out of the list that you threw in there.
For Basil, it's always about phones.
Yeah. And we've got, I think that's pretty much it. Okay, cool. That's everything. So we can press right on the Xbox controller. This doesn't look like a TV.
It's not.
What is it?
It's a chip.
A chip?
A chip that goes into a TV. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the X1 Ultimate prototype. So this succeeds from the X1 Extreme, I think, the Sony's old chips, which are appearing in the TVs that have just been announced at CES, more of which you can see on techradar.com. And what's smart about this is it uses AI. The magic of AI.
Yeah, the reason we're doing the sarcastic jazz hands is because AI is the word of the moment. Like, if you have read pretty much any of our coverage of anything that's happening at CES, everyone is going, it's got AI in it, it's an AI chair.
We're going to mention it at least 3 more times in the upcoming pictures. You got that to look forward to.
Yeah, and obviously AI is exciting, it's changing the world, it's probably going to make us all redundant as human beings, awesome, but also they're putting it into things like this, which is a chip that renders images, if I'm understanding this right, it renders images rather than frame by frame by object.
Yes, so object recognition. So effectively it'll be more efficient with its rendering process, and what you can also do is render up to 8K, because there is so much 8K content.
There's just so much 8K content. You can't move for 8K content at the moment.
But we were saying this about 4K like 8 years ago.
And now there are at least 7 films in 4K.
I know, and that's just on Amazon Prime Video alone. So it's cool that this is happening, because this is what CES is kind of all about. It's an insight into the future that we're not quite at yet, but that whole thing around the revised processing of the images, that could be really, really integral to streaming services plans going forward. When talking about 8K streaming, when people figure out how to dig big enough pipes in the ground to stream 8-bit.
Yeah, and like obviously 8K for a time will be upscaled 4K.
Yeah.
And so you will need a chip that will be able to process that upscaled content. But yeah, bandwidth is a massive thing. And also the thing that John was talking about in the previous video, the one that was in the run-up to CES, about whether or not the human eye can actually see 8K is a really interesting thing. That, like, for a normal size TV, like this size TV, if this was 8K, it wouldn't really make any difference to the human eye unless you were sat closer than we are, just staring directly into the pixels, like
with
you're
a
staring into
glass.
the sun with a magnifying glass.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
Anyway,
8K yay or 8K nay? I will jump into your comments in a sec. But first, on to our next cool CES 2018 item. It's not a laptop.
It's not a laptop, nor is it Fortnite Battle Royale.
Battle Royale.
No.
It is NVIDIA's
GeForce Now,
which is GeForce Go. GeForce Now, which is
Now.
like PlayStation Now, but for laptops. So it's basically a streaming service. Sorry, I completely fluffed that one.
That's okay.
GeForce
so basically what it is it's a way of streaming the GeForce experience so that you can use effectively a remote high quality server to power your gaming, so that even if you've got a laptop which would not be capable of running high quality AAA contemporary games, you can basically stream it.
Yeah.
And so you get to play the good games.
And it's going to be really, really useful whether you're a PC or Mac owner, because then if you've got a Mac, you'll potentially be able to stream PC games, which you haven't been able to do in the past. We've seen similar stuff like this from a lot of people. From Steam, you've been able to stream from Steam to Steam.
Yep.
So you've been able to stream your own games from your powerful PC. PS Now it's called. PlayStation Now is the one I was talking about, which you know what PS. So it basically means that even with Android smart TVs, you can use your DualShock 4 controller, Bluetooth pad, and do this, but with PlayStation games. But now what this is doing is it's opening games like PUBG up that are just, and this service is letting you apply things like patches and stuff onto games, so it'll be more like you're owning a game rather than you're just playing on someone else's computer and dipping in and dipping out.
Yeah.
So that's exciting for people who don't necessarily have the money to get the most cutting edge laptop.
Yeah, and so if you're there and you bought a laptop a few years ago and you just can't afford to buy a new laptop but you want to play the latest games...
Exactly.
Win.
It's in beta now. You can visit techradar.com and search for it. You will find the link to sign up. It is not an open beta, it is a closed beta, so jump in there quickly so that you can get access to it before it goes live and costs the monies. Cool. What else have we got?
Next.
We have phones in different area codes. Let's have a look at what you're saying. Okay, so a lot of you have asked about phones, and you are starting to talk about Sony, and this is really, really good because so are we now. Sony has released 3 phones, and 2 like mid-range ones, 1 lower-range one. So they've got the XA2, the XA2 Ultra, and the Xperia. So the low end one. I'm going to leave that one for now, although even for a lower end one, it's got a rear fingerprint scanner, which is nice. Interestingly, rear fingerprint scanners across all of them, which is interesting because Sony hasn't done this before. So, and that's good. And they're also the first Sony phones that have fingerprint scanners in the US. So Sony's been able to bypass the licensing around fingerprint scanners and the extra stuff they have to do to get the biometric technology in their phones, and they've done it. So that's exciting. But this isn't going to be a sexy phone. CES was always going to be the TV show for them, so they haven't wanted to take away any limelight from those TVs, and instead they've released something that's going to compete with the Moto G5S Plus and the Honor 7X, for example. So you've got a 5.2-inch screen on the XA2 with a 3,300 milliamp battery, Qualcomm Snapdragon 6 series under the hood, 3 gigabytes of RAM, very, very small side bezels. Up top and bottom, you've got the more standardized kind of Sony bezels going on. Rear camera, single rear camera. And the XA2 Ultra has a 6-inch screen. I'll be really interested to see what you guys are saying about it. All I've seen is Sony flash up here in my live chat window, but I'm going to read some of your opinions. Future Tech TV says, say my name and make my day. Done. Akash Gosh, hello. He asks for our opinions on NVIDIA's BFGD. We haven't got anything on that for this show, but techradar.com where you can find out more. Sony. Future Tech TV says Sony needs to assign a new designer for their phone lineup. They are still bringing out phones with large bezels. Okay, so this is not going to be the phone that will announce Sony's new design language. If we are going to see that, it will be the new flagship, the successor to the XZ Premium, which should be announced at Mobile World Congress. So fingers crossed that refreshes the design language, because I actually agree with you on that front. Although for a mid-ranger, something like this is completely possible. It's all going to come down to how much it is going to cost. Again, we got our hands on it, techradar.com. You can see John McCann's Xperia XA2 hands-on, and with the Ultra as well.
Very nice.
And that's all the phones from the day.
That's all the phones.
All the phones.
I know what's coming next. I'm excited. Press it. So
you know how I just talked for about 2 minutes and he didn't? Role reversal time.
Hi there.
And go.
Welcome. So this is, well, is this the HTC Vive Pro? Or is this still the HTC Vive? Anyway, the HTC Vive Pro is the thing that has been announced. And so it is a new updated HTC Vive, which is the VR headset. And the HTC Vive at the moment is sort of the Oculus Rift, and the HTC Vive gun it out for who is the leader of the VR world. And the sort of the consensus is that HTC Vive wins it, and all of the things that we've been hearing in the sort of the VR rumor mill world, and also like from product announcements, is that everyone's heading towards wireless headsets, and it's all looking like it's cheaper, lower resolution, easier to get a hold of, completely wireless, completely freestanding. And there's something about that that's like, oh cool, more people are going to get into VR because of it. But also there's a little thing in the back of your mind that's like, oh, so you're making it worse. Awesome. And then HTC Vive were like, but wait a minute, here is the HTC Vive Pro, which is basically a higher resolution version. So it's like, I think it's 620 pixels per inch, which is a 78% increase in resolution on the previous HTC Vive, which is already the industry leader. And so it's like, if you want some high resolution, here you go. And also I've just seen Basil's face. Sorry, I've clearly got a little overexcited.
Used about something.
Yeah. Oh, that makes me sound like I'm just. Also, the earphones are better.
And it comes with the earphones.
It comes with
which
the
is
earphones.
nice. So I have to agree with Andrew on this one. I first tried the HTC Vive 2 years ago, and I felt like Ariel in The Little Mermaid as I was under the sea, and there was this whale going past me, and the ship, and I felt I could reach out and touch it. And as I moved around, and then I went to a mobile VR experience at the time, the Samsung Gear S, and it was much more Gear VR, sorry, and it was much more usable, but it felt bad.
Yeah.
By contrast.
Yeah. And also, like, even this is a thing that I don't know if I'm particularly popular in the VR journalism world, because I'm always there going, yeah, it's like almost there. Like it's cool, like it's getting there. And there are a few experiences, a few things that happened last year that were like, oh yeah, we are there. Like stuff is happening, but anything where you go from being awesome experiential to actually having to look at the world around you, even with the HTC Vive and the Oculus, that you're there going, oh yeah, it's clearly pixelated. Like I've clearly got quite a narrow field of view.
Like as well. The little dots. Even with the HTC Vive, you had it. And so even though everyone's like, you don't need 600, that's sharper than any smartphone screen. Good, because this is not a smartphone. This is something that lives very, very close to your eyes.
Well, that's just it. It's like,
with a magnifying glass.
Just like if your smartphone was there, you would want it to be higher resolution than when it's there.
So you've got dual OLED displays.
Yes.
It's wonderful, wonderful technology, and it's very nice and sharp, and neither of us have tried it, but we're both very excited too. Which makes it one of our highlights of CES.
Yeah, we have got our hands on the site. We haven't touched it, but we, as Tech Radar, have.
Collectively.
And so, if you want to check out our hands on, head over to Tech Radar.
Yes, definitely. Right. Now, this is the Panasonic Lumix GH5S. Now, the GH5 has been around for ages, and it is a photographer and videographer's dream, except for potentially when it comes to the low light performance. And when it comes to video, it could just be a little bit better. It is a micro four thirds camera. Now, Panasonic claims with this variant that costs around, was it $2,000? £2,200, around £2,200. We have producer Tom in the back, who is incredibly excited about this one. For around that money, you're going to get better low light performance. It's going to obviously shoot 4K video like older models do, and improved video capabilities as well. The Micro Four Thirds system has a really nice extensive lens collection, so it'll all work with these. If you've got a Panasonic GH5 and you do focus on video, it could be a nice second camera or swap your body. most photographers do tend to have second cameras.
Ooh.
Yeah, so there's this whole thing, especially around wedding photography, like your shoot should cost should return the price of like 3 lenses or something, or like it takes you 2 months to accrue of paid work your kit bag.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's easier than going, oh, now I want to swap the lens out and the moment's gone and they're married now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like a Panasonic Ninja.
Yeah.
We have more stuff than just this, though.
There's more.
We have...
Creme
I'll hand
brulee.
over to you.
So this is the JBL smart speaker with a screen. And so this is the Google Assistant smart speaker with a screen. Well, one of. So this is an interesting thing that Amazon has obviously got its Echo Show, it's got its Echo Spot. It's making its own smart speakers that have screens in them. And Google has obviously got the Google Home, the Google Home Mini, the Google Home Max. So we're like, when's the screen one coming out? And then the JBL, is it called the Link View? Yeah, Link View. Was announced, and we're like, so not making it yourselves, Google? And this is an interesting thing that's happening a lot over CES. Is everyone is going, this has got Google Assistant and then Amazon Alexa in it. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. People are really going in hard on the voice assistant thing. But this is going to be a big thing for anybody that wants a smart speaker with a screen that likes YouTube, because there has been a big thing that's happening recently that Google has effectively pulled YouTube from all of the Amazon devices. And so people have got these little screens that are like, oh, cool, I can have this in my kitchen and I can have YouTube play a recipe to me so I can, you can't get YouTube anymore.
No, you can't.
Yeah. And so now you can.
Well, you can, but not if you've got an Echo Show. And this whole thing is just getting silly.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing everyone can agree on, probably even Amazon and Google.
Yeah.
But this isn't...
It's probably worth saying that nobody has explicitly said you can't get YouTube on an Amazon devices because we want to make our own. Like, that's not what's happening.
No,
it's about
other stuff.
Yeah, licensing and the way that YouTube works and the way that the Amazon devices deal with, I think, adverts or something. It's basically the way that YouTube operates doesn't sit well on the Amazon ecosystem, and so until that gets resolved, that they're not going to be on Amazon devices. But obviously a Google based system is going to be like, we know how we're doing it.
But backdating this to things like the Amazon phone, the Amazon tablets, Amazon Fire phone, when it came out, it didn't have YouTube. This is like years ago when it was an exclusive on O2, like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So this is ongoing, which is annoying. But what is also nice about Google Assistant with a screen is it's not confined to one device. Lenovo's also launched a Google Assistant screen device, which you can get something that's more potentially speaker oriented, or you can get
and that's a thing that we're seeing a lot, that loads of companies are bringing out either their own dedicated product that has Google Assistant, or they're bringing out a Google Assistant product. And so we're seeing lots of bedside alarm clocks, lots of different things that are Google Assistant devices. And so it is really interesting seeing all of the different ways that these voice assistants are being integrated into the smart home.
Yeah. Which one did you go for?
It's difficult.
Which one would you go for?
It's difficult. Yeah. I personally think that Google Assistant talks nicer.
Yes.
But Amazon Alexa operates better
Okay.
at the moment.
Cool.
That's my personal opinion on it.
That's fair. Let us know what you think and why, and I will be sure to read out your answers. There is not a lot of love for Sony in this chat room. Most of you just want to know about the Samsung Galaxy S9. Well, that wasn't announced at CES, unfortunately, but stay tuned in the next few weeks because we anticipate early 2018 is when we'll be hearing more about that. And
just whilst you've brought up Samsung, that there was quite a lot of chat whilst we're doing the voice assistant stuff, Smart Fridge and Bixby stuff. And so Bixby has been a bit of a slow starter in the voice assistant market, but an interesting trump card that Samsung has is that they create Samsung SmartThings, which is one of the industry leaders in terms of smart home hubs, and so it basically works as a unifying presence that can talk to all of your different smart home devices, not just Samsung ones, but across loads and loads of different manufacturers, and can basically allow you to easily control all of them. And it's the thing that people have been touting for years and years and years, is like, everything's gonna talk to each other, and you're like, okay, yeah, cool, when's that happening? And like the SmartThings hub allows you to be the thing that unifies everything. But now Bixby is coming to SmartThings, and SmartThings integrated products are all actually starting to communicate. Like it's actually properly starting to happen.
Yeah.
The only problem is it's Bixby.
Yeah.
So
what he said, but like Bixby has some advantages over other services, but they are just yet to come into their own. So conceptually they are nailing it, but real world use isn't quite there. There's like something the other day, my phone has Bixby, and I like suggested that I ask it to, so I just wanted to make sure Bixby wasn't active, because this would have screwed things up. Well, you'll see why. It asked me to like make a photo album of my last month's photos, and like I went to swipe that out of the way, swipe that Bixby notification out of the way, and it registered it as a tap, and so it started copying and compiling the entire December's worth of photos on my phone into an album, and it was just like, so Bixby needs some help. But having said that, I could have done that with my voice, and you can't do something that is as integrated as that with Google Assistant or with Amazon's Alexa. So it was announced also Bixby on the smart fridge. So if that kind of contextualization was happening, hey Bixby, do I have milk in my fridge? If I I
knew that was going to happen. I was just waiting for it.
Do I have milk in my fridge? If I don't, order some. And that's just one chain of commands, potentially. That's cool.
And LG were talking about similar things as well during their thing, that if like you have got a recipe that you want to do, and you look in your fridge and go, oh yeah, I'm going to make that, and you bring it up on your fridge's screen and you go, cool, tell the oven to preheat, and then the oven starts preheating. Like, if that stuff actually starts happening, then awesome. I mean, obviously, there's the whole issue of redundancy with technology, that if you get to a point where you're like, oh yeah, you replace your phone every couple of years, you replace your laptop every 4 or 5, like how often do you replace your oven? Like, if suddenly your oven becomes a redundant piece of technology and you have to replace your oven every 5 years, then that's a problem, because those things are expensive and we do not replace them that often. So that's going to be interesting to see how these companies deal with that going forward, but it is exciting to see that integration is actually finally starting to happen.
Oh, I never thought about that, making the smart home a reason for household goods to be more like dispensable, or like at least
or modular, that you would like if the technology of it sits in the door, being able to just replace the door rather than replace the whole oven.
That's a really, really interesting thing you're talking about. Should we move on though?
Let's.
Because it was interesting, but I'm aware of time right now, and it is 12:03, and we need to get on to wireless charging.
Wireless charging.
This is going to be a short one because it is so freaking exciting. Apple obviously announced the iPhone 10 wireless charging supports Qi standard, and so this CES has seen an explosion of wireless charging pads that do things that we've seen before.
So I'm slightly sarcastic about it, because obviously wireless charging isn't new, but the fact that we've been saying this for a long time, that we were like, as soon as Apple brings wireless charging into their phones, wireless charging is going to blow up. Apple brought wireless charging to its phones, and
this is the first trade show to happen after that. And there has been a lot of wireless charging. There's faster wireless charging than there was, so there are some advancements that are taking place around wireless charging. But it isn't quite as fast as wired charging. Irrespective though, it's cool. We'll have more options, and if your phone supports wireless charging, whether it's an iPhone or an Android phone, walk into most tech stores and you'll be able to buy some pads.
I just can't wait for the time when we've got wireless charging pads in cafes and stuff. Now that it's becoming a ubiquitous technology, that if you just go, oh cool, go and have a coffee and just put my phone down and it charges, and cool, and I'm off and it's charging.
You know, we've got that in Starbucks.
I mean,
It's only on the one in Wardour Street, so only in big cities in the UK, and I think there are a couple. The only reason I know is because Starbucks were like, "Hey, a year and a bit ago, hey, we've got wireless charging in our stores," and then we went there and like there was cool, and then they were going to roll it out, and then it wasn't really rolled out, and that's why, because Apple hadn't. Yeah. So if you don't have wireless charging in your Starbucks, check back soon, because you might. This
other coffee brands are available.
Probably has wireless charging in it too somewhere.
Yeah, so this is a thing, and so more and more CES is becoming the car show.
The car show,
and so there are lots and lots of vehicles that are being unveiled for the first time, and this is the Byton. I'm not exactly sure of pronunciation. It might be Byton. Bitten. Byton.
Don.
Bitten. But yeah, it is a car that is very concept, but is heading towards being commercially available. And this is the mad thing about it, is that it's definitely a car for the future. And so is
it AI?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's an AI car.
It's an AI car.
It must be good.
So it does have Amazon Alexa in it.
Cool.
And so you can talk to your car, much like Knight Rider. It does also have an unbelievable amount of screens. And so there is a screen in the steering wheel. The dashboard from door to door is a screen. There are screens on the seats so that the people in the back also have screens. And so it is... Yeah, and also the front seats can turn. It's not turn all the way around. I think they've got like a 12-degree angle of turn or something. But yeah, so that you can turn around and talk to the people behind you.
Giving you such a crick in the neck.
Yeah, without giving you a crick in the neck.
Amazing.
And so, yeah, I mean, obviously, turning seats is going to be a massive thing when cars drive themselves.
Yeah.
That you don't need to look out the front, because why would you?
But this doesn't drive itself.
So
despite the AI on board,
this
doesn't. So the AI is around the idea of Alexa, etc.
Yeah.
And this is cool, because most of the stuff that we've seen from Qualcomm and a lot of the stuff from NVIDIA, this that was announced earlier, is all about cars.
Yeah.
NVIDIA, Qualcomm, these are chipset manufacturers. So the brains that are going into smart cars really needs to be up there.
And there is stuff about self-driving cars happening at CES as well. It's really exciting. The sort of I won't go into too much detail here because we don't have much time, but there's the different levels of automation in self-driving vehicles, and we have been at the low levels of automation for quite a long time, for a good reason. But we are starting to see some actual serious progress into the higher levels of automation, which is really exciting if you are a self-driving car geek like me.
Super exciting. I hate driving too.
I just hate driving.
Yeah, so I'm so stoked for the idea. And I mean, especially if you live somewhere like LA where you've just got to drive for ages, you're in bumper traffic, and you can just like power down your brain or get on with some work or have a chat with a loved one and not have to worry about your car rolling into the car in front of you, which has never happened to me.
A slight concern, just because a car completely full of screens, is that your car becomes a retail environment. That's the thing that I'm constantly like, please don't let that happen. And it's already kind of happening. I wrote a story a little while back about, I think it was General Motors created a thing where it was like in-car retail, and so you can now use the terminal, the screen in your car, so that you can place your Dunkin' Donuts order before you get there. And you're like, yeah, that is kind of cool, but also drive-through. Like, it's not any quicker or more efficient, and it effectively means that people can advertise to you in your car.
All the taxis with all the iPads with all the adverts everywhere in the world now.
Yeah.
So cars are turning into retail spaces, whether we like it or not.
But you're supposed to have your peaceful, idyllic, tranquil time away from the world where you can just drive.
Press the right button, and this will be your peaceful, tranquil, idyllic time.
This one?
Yeah. This is a movie, guys.
It will be.
It will be. I think I might need to press back and forward. Back and forward. This wasn't announced at CES, but it was shown off at CES. And if you're not excited now, you have no heart. So, Aibo was announced in November. This is the new Aibo, not the Aibo of Janet Jackson Doesn't Really Matter music video fame.
Right.
And what's incredibly cool about this Aibo is that it actually does have like more advanced AI than anything that we've spoken about. I'm distracted. I have to keep talking. So this has a camera in the front of its nose, so you can check in, see what your eyeballs seeing. It's got OLED eyes. Oh yeah. It's also got the capacity to get to know you. So it knows how you look, and it knows how you look when you're happy. It knows how you look when you're sad. It knows when you need some love. It knows how you stroke and pet it. And then over time, it changes its behaviors to adapt to your behaviors. And so after a month with an Aibo, no two Aibo are the same. It also has a SIM card slot so that you can check in remotely even if you don't necessarily have it near a Wi-Fi hotspot. Its tail wags and it's adorable.
I want one.
Andrew and I want one.
I love the Aibo.
Yes,
I genuinely do. And like, there's I've spoken about this in previous videos when we heard the rumors that the new Aibo was coming. But there is one of my favorite videos in the world is the Aibo World Cup. And so they have a Robo World Cup that happens where robots basically play football. It's the World Cup of football, soccer, if you're not us. And it's with robots. And there was 2 Aibo teams that competed against each other, and it's just pure joy. So tell me, Basil, how much is it going to cost me to buy my new Aibo?
Now, are you talking about the Aibo or the Aibo pet insurance? Because you can get pet insurance for your Aibo.
Like, just if you accidentally put it in the rain?
Like service and maintenance. So Aibo's going to set you back around...
Vet fees.
Yes, vet fees.
Yeah.
Aibo's going to set you back around probably like $2,000 near enough, including that pet insurance. But it hasn't been announced for US or UK markets, only Japanese. So that's a direct conversion.
Okay.
So we'll have to watch this space. But... it's a pure breed.
I want one.
If you consider you're not going to have to clean up after it.
Yeah.
Charges itself, I think, maybe. I mean, if a Hoover can do it, if a Hoover can do it, why can't a dog?
Yeah.
No, it's very, very cool. And it's like nice to see Sony having created this kind of concept before.
Yeah.
Follow it through.
Yeah, well, we lost the Aibo, didn't we? That there was the reason that the Aibo went is that Sony went through a period of streamlining. That it was get rid of all of the frilly things and just purely work on the things that sell.
Yeah.
And you're like, yep, cool. It makes total business sense, but it meant that we lost a lot of the like cool peripheral technology that Sony made. And now it's clearly doing well enough that it's like, let's bring back the Aibo. Like, AI is in a place where the Aibo has value above and beyond being a cute thing. It's no longer a Furby. It's not Furby Plus.
Yeah.
It's an actual thing that can learn.
It's smart. It's
smart.
The thing that a lot of people need with a companion such as a pet is just the personal touch, and that, at least, even if, you know, I mean, this is a much broader question. Do animals have souls and all this? And if you don't think they do, then
tell us in the comments.
Tell us. The Aibo can be kind of actually plug a little gap in your loneliness.
Yeah. If you live in a city and you can't have a pet, but you desperately want one, and you have $2,000 to burn, then...
Do you know what? Like, I've been to Hong Kong, and the apartments are so expensive and so small, and like, to have a dog, that would be so cruel for that dog.
Yeah.
But to have an Aibo, it would just be pretty sweet.
Yeah. I do have an actual dog, and I'm pretty sure if I got an Aibo that there would be some amazing, like, real digital rivalry, and I want that to happen. I just think it would be amazing.
So our highlight of CES is actually not something that was announced at CES. The Aibo was announced in November, but no, realistically speaking, we don't even know if it's going to make its way to the UK. But the other stuff that has been announced that probably will is all on our CES site. And also, just before we go, a quick shout out to Honor. You may have seen a lot of AI content going up. That's all been created in partnership with them. It's sponsored, so I really appreciate them for helping us write out all that content around AI, seeing as it is such a hot topic at today's trade shows. And I think, and another one, shout out to the guys in the US who are actually on the ground. Some of them even road tripped from New York to Las Vegas in order to get there. And that, my friends, is dedication. That's it. So if you've got any questions about CES, we will be back on Thursday at the same time. I think it will probably be us again, but we might swap it out. Do you know when John's back?
I don't.
So if John Porter's back, by then he'll be very jet lagged, but very capable to tell you about all the TV goodness out there. But yeah, that's pretty much us done and dusted. So subscribe to the channel, check out the site, all of that good stuff.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.